Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into this week's edition of Bullring Breakdown. Race recap. We are skipping the driver interview this week as we did have the Honoring Alice event this Wednesday night, last night. So I'm joined here for a race recap in the middle of the week by Terry Pierce. Terry, how we doing today?
We're doing good, Joe. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing a lot better. So that's good. Happy
That's
to be
right.
here.
I'm a lot better shape this week than I was on Monday night when we did our podcast. I had five different people tell me yesterday at the races that, man, you look terrible the other night on your podcast. And I'm like, thanks. But I hurt my neck and I couldn't move and I couldn't turn my head or nothing. And I've been going to the chiropractor and I guess they got me on the mend now. So now I could turn my head a little bit. And yeah, that's why I wasn't on the infield last night because I stayed up back and yeah, it's getting better now. So I'm a lot better shape now than I was on Monday
That's good. I
night
don't
anyway.
know. I don't know if you follow along on our flagman's Facebook, but I think John or Joe Trappler would have something to say to you.
No, I know. Yeah, I kind of seen him. I kind of ignored him.
Um, so Wednesday night honoring Alice, big event, 5,500 to win for the modifieds. 2,000, well, originally it was 1,500 to win for the sportsman. Um, Trowbridge Enterprises came on early this year, put an extra 500 to the winner. That kicked it up to 2,000. And then I think on Saturday, Twin Kiss of Bath, Canona. I'm
Yep.
not sure. Right there. They put another 500 on the winner, so that brought it up to 2,500. So hey, that's pretty sweet.
Have you ever had ice cream over there, Twin Kiss?
Oh yeah, I go there all the time.
Yeah, I love the place. They have good ice cream, man. That's for sure. And it was funny because I seen him there last night walking around, and that's the first time I've seen him at Woodhall in quite a while. He doesn't make it over every Saturday night, and yeah, I talked to him here a while ago, and he's like, "I got to get over. I've been so busy. I haven't had time." And so it was good to see him there the other night. I was glad to have him back.
Mm.
So
So that was why when I went over there and I told him to put it on Terry Pierce's tab, they said he doesn't have one. That would be why.
well, right, right. So I used to have one, but for some reason I kept adding to it. And finally, they did away with it. I don't know why. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I tried last time I was there. I tried you. I tried Kenny Peoples. I even tried Joe Giordina.
Yeah,
None of them worked. So
right.
I,
There you go.
I had to pay for my own. Um, so yeah, and then we had the 600cc modifieds with us as well. I don't know. I love that class. I love those little cars. I think they're sweet. I think they go fast. I, I'm a big fan of them. But
They were a
uh,
lot of
B,
fun. Yep.
BH Log Hauling and White's Repair, they were the headline sponsors. Kim and Brad Harrington, they did a lot with this race. They usually do a lot with this race. Um, they put together the redraw. They put together some contingencies from other sponsors, and it was a good night. So I want to give props to them for everything they did for that race Saturday or Wednesday night. Um, well, I guess we can go to the heat races if you don't have anything before the night. I don't
Nope.
know.
Sounds good to me.
So the Insinger Performance Modifieds heat winners, these were $100 courtesy of Joe Trappler and Trappler Trucking and JT Logging. I asked him which sponsor it would. He said, or which company sponsored it. He said, I don't know. I don't care. Either one of them, both of them, I don't care. So, both of them, JT
Yep.
Logging and Trappler Trucking. So Joe Ginn, he picked up the win in heat race number one. Uh, Tanner Van Doren, he picked up the heat race win in heat race number two. And then Russell Morseman, the fourth, um, picked up the heat race win in heat race number three. So
Joe,
that's,
Joe, did you see the first heat race there when Joe Gin won?
yeah.
When he won that first heat.
Yeah, I
You
called the whole
know,
thing.
that car was so fast. I'm like, I sat there watching it and I'm like, my Lord, this is going to be an interesting night at the end because it was so fast and there was nobody going to touch him. I'm not
Right.
exactly sure what happened to him in the feature. I know he was coming up through the feature. I know he got in a couple little tangle ups back there, but boy, was that car fast and he had it hooked up good.
Yeah, yeah, you never know. Once they kind of get beaten and banging back towards the middle of the pack, you never really know. One thing gets out of whack here and, it slows you
Right,
right
right.
down. So,
Yep,
um,
no, for sure.
And that, Tanner Van Doren, he was picked up the winning heat race number two. Good to have him back with us. He's came up a few times. He, that's quite a ride for them guys. And, it's always good to see him. He's a good kid. He just had a big win down at Orange County a couple days before. So,
Yep.
and I am looking.
I believe he told me it was about a 3 hour drive for them to come to Woodhall. They love it, and they came a couple times last year and they loved it. He said it's a really long drive for them to get here every week.
Right. Well, I got another one for you. Remember how last week we were talking about Jason Andrews, and I wanted to touch on him because he actually made the redraw, and that's a good run for him.
Yep,
So I
absolutely.
I went up to his pit area and I was talking to him. Every week they come about 3 hours away.
No
That
kidding.
yeah,
Wow.
that they had plans to run Afton or Thunder Mountain. I can't remember which, and they kept raining out, and they said, "Well, let's go try out Woodhall." One of those weeks we ran when they rained out, and they said they loved it here, and they just kept coming back. So that's quite
Yep.
a tow for for every week, and then for a Wednesday show here tonight. So
Right.
last night.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I did want to mention that a little bit, that I did go up there and talk to him, and then Russell Morseman the fourth, he picked up the heat race win for the third one. So um, you know that one, good run for him. Um, he started second in that car. All the Morsemans are tough to pass, so
Definitely
good on
are.
him. Hometown excavation crate sportsman. Uh, well, Grant Hilfiger showed up, and sometimes it just seems like whenever the 78 pulls into the pit area, he's just gonna sweep the night. It seems like, and this weekend was no different, or this Wednesday was no different. He picked up the first heat race win, and then Tony Harris was the second heat race win. Um, so then we can move on to the 600 cc's, and they were won by Brandon Elliott and Justin Ledoux. I don't really have a ton to say about the 600s. You
Hmm.
know, at least not much for the Heats. I think they came out there and they pretty much green to checkered both of them, and pretty easy going for the Heat races.
Right. Do you have the Joe? Do you have the list? Because I don't have the list in front of me of the 600 cc's that were here. Could you tell me, was there a Donahue that ran?
Was there a who?
Donahue? Was his
Ledoux,
last name was Donahue? Ledoux?
Ledoux,
Okay.
Ladue.
Okay.
There was
Okay.
there was
So,
not a Donahue.
okay. So that might be the guy. So anyway, I was walking through the pits and the guy came out and he started talking to me and we stood there talking and he told me that it was about a 2 hour drive for them to get there last night. But interesting fact, he used to be from Woodhall, and his grandfather actually helped run the bulldozer that built Woodhall Raceway.
No way.
His grandfather used to have to help him up there, and he helped him build that whole. Just a
Really?
little interesting fact I learned about.
Yeah, what you really want to talk about a small world. That's pretty incredible, really.
It is absolutely, yep, yeah.
Uh so that was the heat races. Then we got to do the redraw. Redraw down on the front stretch. That was brought to you out BH Log Hauling. They had water bottles and poker chips all set up, and it was, and they did a good job. It was ran well. I only messed up one driver. I This will be the last year that we do this, and I don't have compare my list to somebody else's because Russell Morseman and his family, they deserve to give me a kick in the rear end. So. But other than that, it went all right, and then Russell busted my chops a little bit down on the front stretch, but it happens.
Yeah,
And
right.
I guess now I will mention, I kind of out of order here, but we did have a Hot Lap Hero Award. That was Craig Gilbert donated $150 to the fastest and hot laps. Craig Gilbert of Custom Wood Creations does a bunch of beautiful work. You do a lot of work with him, Terry, and that went to
Oh
Russell.
yeah, he builds the most beautiful cornhole boards you've ever seen. They're just absolutely anybody that plays cornhole competitively. His boards are right to spec, and I got a couple sets here in my shop, and I'll tell you what, they're nice boards.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So before we got too far, I did want to mention that. And then and then we honored BVP. Um,
it was good.
uh, you know, I enjoyed it. We kind of kept it short, we kind of wanted to keep things rolling, being a Wednesday night. 50 laps and the features, you kind of 50 and 30, you never kind of know exactly what's going to happen. Um, so we
Right?
we did
Yep.
keep it short, but we honored Billy. I got to talk to Grant. Grant did a great job. He had a few words that he said for Billy, and it was pretty touching down there on the front stretch.
Yes, it was. Yep. Absolutely. He got a beautiful plaque, and he also got a lifetime pit pass for Woodhall Raceway. So he was kind of choked up over that pit pass. That meant a lot to him to get receive that. So
Yeah, and I'll say I don't know if there's anybody that deserves it better because I think he even said when I was talking to him down there that there's probably what 8 or 9 modifieds that he had his hands in today.
yep, yep,
So
absolutely.
and not just for his achievement on the racetrack, but what he's willing to do for everybody in the pit area. That's a that's an asset to have. That's an
Oh, it
asset
was.
to have him come week in and week out, and it's good to honor somebody like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think that about intermission. I guess that was probably.
Yep, I think so.
All right. Well, then we can get on to the modified feature. AJ Petrobowski Jr. started in the pole position alongside Russell Morseman the fourth. Um, this this was a little rough early on. They I don't know if it was just a trying to drive to the front as quick as possible or exactly what was going on in the first couple of laps, but it was a kind of yellow filled for a little while there anyway.
I'll tell you what it was. It was 5,500 to win.
Yeah,
That changes everybody's perspective on getting to the front in a hurry, doesn't it? I mean,
it seems
you could
to.
tell. Yep, yep, it seems to.
Right.
And I can't blame them. That's a lot of
Yeah,
money. A lot of these teams could really use that money right now. And yeah, I mean, no doubt.
exactly. Yeah. So it was a little tough going on, and then we got some green flag laps. Um, AJ Petrobowski he led all 50, but he was leading at the beginning. Caution came out around lap 16. Uh, and then they doubled them up again. Didn't quite matter anymore. They kind of just kept going the way they were. Then the caution came out back on lap 18, and this is where in Victory Lane I talked to Tanner Van Doren, and he said I tried to do something a little different on the restart, and it just didn't work. And he went from second to fourth, and then and then he was battling hard the rest of the race trying to get back up to second. Um,
Yeah.
and then he did. The caution came out back on lap 34. That would be Tanner's last real shot at AJ, and AJ was just kind of the class of the field tonight. There's a couple of guys that I kind of wonder if they didn't have bad luck,
Hmm.
what might have happened, but
Right.
it didn't to me it didn't seem like many people were going to touch Petrobowski.
No, no, definitely not. I mean, I don't know. Danny Creedon he was coming on at the end. He said he kind of picked the wrong tire. It was starting to come in at the end of the race. He needed to come in a little bit sooner, but he was coming up through the field a little bit. You know, yeah, it was Donnie Lawson was solid back there. He was solid. I mean, yeah, there was some good racing in the top 10. That's for sure, right there.
Yeah, did you get a chance to talk to Brian Doolittle?
I didn't.
No, me
I
neither.
I I believe that he had some motor problems again. I believe is what the problem was. It was unfortunate to see him. I seen him going to the hot pit under caution, and then they just kind of limped the car back to the pits after that. So
Hmm. Yeah, tough break there for Doolittle because he's had while that car was fast in the heat, I thought it was starting to come back. He was moving towards the front, and then he went to the pit area, and that's a
yeah,
tough break for that small team.
it
Just
is.
kind of looking through them real quick. I know Carter Crooker, he had a motor go on him. Current point leader. I saw on Facebook he's not quite sure what he's going to do now, so tough break for them. Uh, I guess that's pretty much all the mechanical issues that I remember off the top of my head. Maybe Brady Foltz. Did Brady hurt a motor?
Yeah, actually, I think he did. I think he
Okay.
did. You know who I was really impressed with was Greg Turner. That was some good run. That was a good run that he had going on there through the night. He,
Yeah.
he looked like he had that car hooked up.
You want to know a funny story? You might have been in there for this, but I'll tell it anyway. So we're sitting after the races, we all kind of sit and talk about the night and all that. And Nick Brown, a tow truck guy, he comes in. And he's on the infield. He can't really hear me announce, and he's just kind of watching the races. And he goes, Greg Turner looked pretty good out there. Greg Turner was getting around pretty good. He was hanging with them guys. He looked good. And I go, yeah, Nick, I guess that's what happens when you have other people drive your car. But,
You
but
know, we can only say that because Greg is such a great guy.
you're right. You're right. But Byron Worthing drove his car for him
Yep,
Wednesday night, and he did good. Um, I met Byron. I met him. Seemed like a good dude.
yep.
I've only ever really watched him race up, aft in that way. So
Hmm.
never really
Yep.
knew too much about him, but it's good to have him back, have him with
Did
us.
right? Did you hear my story last night about Tanner Van Dorn going to Delaware? Did you hear that story?
I don't think
So,
so.
kind of a fun fact. So I was chuckling. I brought it up to him in the pits earlier in the night. I went up and sat down with him for a little bit there, and I told him, I said, I remember this story like it was yesterday. I said, but I want to hear you tell it to me one more time. So when he was starting out, he was doing really well. He had some top fives. He was doing very good, and they were following some series races, and they ended up at Delaware International Speedway, and they pulled into the pits that night and went to get out to sign in to go into the race. And at the time, Tanner was only 12 years old. And he got up to the pit window and they told him no, they wouldn't let him race. He wasn't old enough. And they kind of argued back and forth that he was a race car driver and he'd been racing. And yeah, they wouldn't let him race. He had to turn around and go home at 12 years old because they wouldn't let him race there. So yeah, kind of a cool, funny fact. And yeah, he said it's funny now. It wasn't then,
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't them.
but Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I'm just gonna hit the top five here real quick. AJ Petrobowski Jr. He makes it 3 for 3 at Woodhall this year, picks up his third feature win of the year. Tanner Van Doren came in second. Russell Morseman, the fourth, was third. Fourth was Danny Creedon, and fifth was Russell Morseman. There's your top five. Um, I do you want to share your Danny Creedon story about on the front stretch? Because I don't think AJ would mind. I think he'll get a kick out of it. So I
yeah,
think you should tell it.
yeah, I could do this. So I stood back there with Danny Creedon, and as he was getting out of the car, and of course I'm friends with Danny, and as he's getting out of the car, AJ Petrobowski is up there, and they're getting ready to interview him, and the crowd's booing him like crazy, and Danny Creedon looks at me and says, "Finally, a race car driver that gets booed worse than me." He said, "This is usually me when I get out of the car." And if you know Danny Creedon, he's not lying. He's had a couple tracks in the past where he's won races and got out, and they booed him pretty good. So yeah, he was smiling about it, and I'm sure AJ would understand and laugh about it too.
He told me he even said right in Victory Lane that when they get on him like that, that just makes him more excited. He
Yeah,
said
absolutely.
I had the quote in my story, but I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah,
pretty much that he's fired up about winning the race, and then he gets out and he hears that just gets him more fired up. And so
yeah,
I guess if you
absolutely.
I guess if you win a lot, you're gonna get booed. Billy heard it all of his career. So
Right, absolutely did. Yep.
um
Yeah.
I do also want to mention
I
Jake Ginn picked up the hard charger driving from 22nd to 7th. That was $150 courtesy of W&W Groceries. Um
Yep. You know what I've always heard? I had an old timer. I always used to hear these old guys say that if you're getting booed a lot, that means you're winning a lot. Now, I've never had anybody boo me, and I don't know why.
well
But I'm guessing I could figure it out, huh?
well go to any race you want to. They all boo Matt Shepard, they all boo
Yep,
half the place
they
boo
do.
Stuart Friesen, they boo AJ at Woodhall, they booed Billy for years.
Yep,
Usually if you're getting booed, it's a good thing. So
that's right. Absolutely. Yep.
Um, well, I guess that kind of wraps up the modifieds here. Yeah, just a great run for Jake Jen. That plus 15 spots. That's pretty, for the
I tell you,
attrition that we had in that feature, um, to keep it clean for that long, running right in the back in the middle of the pack is, that's pretty good job by him.
I know I did want to say, Joe, really, I sat down at the end of the night thinking about it, and I believe we had 23 cars, right? 23 modifieds that showed up.
Yep,
And I'd like to say, I mean, the 2 nights before that, Dale's shows, the short track super series, they only had 24 and 25 cars the 2 nights before that. So I don't think we were out of the ballpark with it. And I'll tell you, I got to believe that most of them fans, when they left, and I realized that AJ led all 50 laps, but I'll tell you what, that was a stellar race. It really was. I mean, there was a lot of good racing, clean racing, all the way back through the pack, the whole 50 laps. So, you know,
absolutely.
I heard a lot of people even today say what a great race it was. So, yeah, you really don't want to miss those races when they come up in town. I mean, 50 laps is a long time, and them guys they put on a heck of a show.
Absolutely. Well, you ready to move on to the sportsman or
Sure.
all right. So the sportsman, Todd Titus, he started in the pole position. He was alongside Tony Harris. That was your front row. Uh, Todd Titus I led the first five or so laps. Grant Hilfiger started six, but he was coming. I think on lap 5 or 6, he pulled up alongside Todd Titus, and they battled. Todd did what he could. He battled side by side for a while. Then Grant just got by him. Then the caution comes out on lap 11. Uh, and this is the time when Peoples and Guild got into it. Guild ended up going over on his lid. Nice to see that he's okay. But you know, uh, both drivers were done for the night after that. Then we kept on going, but Grant Hilfiger just seemed to be the class of the field at that point. Nobody had
He
much
def-
for him.
no, not really. At the beginning, I thought Todd Titus looked really good. He was coming out of the corners solid. I thought maybe that he would have something for him. And yeah, just Grant's tough to beat. When Grant gets there, Grant's tough to beat. Again, Quentin Buchanan, he was solid the whole race too. Looked good all the whole race. I mean, that was a good run for him. So
Yeah, 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 absolutely. He ended up finishing third. Braylon Lawson was fourth, and Caden Lawson was fifth. So, good, good run for all three Lawsons. Really, I think Donnie finished sixth, Caden fifth, and
yep,
Braylon was fourth. So that's a good run for the Lawson crew.
it was.
We were missing Blake, but that's okay. Um,
Yep.
so
The
that
that Chris Clements, he finished sixth, and I'm not sure what that was his first time ever being at Woodhull. So,
no, he's
I
been
think,
here before.
oh, is it really? Okay, I don't recall.
He used to have that blue. Oh man, was it 21C? It was
Oh,
all
okay.
blue and it had
Yes.
A&P contracting on the back.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
AMP contract. Yes. Okay.
yep, that's him.
Yep.
I think he kind of runs with AJ's team. I don't know,
Okay.
but yeah, he'd been there before. That's a new car to my knowledge, or at least a new
Right.
wrap on it. But
Yeah, he looked really good anyway. It was good to see somebody, an outsider come in and run good like that.
right,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. And another thing too, Adam Taft. I do want to mention Adam Taft finished seventh, and just for him to be able to get that car back together is pretty amazing. Um,
it
we
is.
all kind of we all kind of had our thoughts more with Kyle Leach because needing the ambulance and not sure exactly how that was going to go, and everybody kind of forgot about Carter Crooker and the Taft machine. So nice to see that. Well, for first that Carter was okay, and nice to see Adam Taft getting it back together. I know he was asking for parts and pieces on Facebook that morning, so um,
Right.
nice to see him get that thing back together in a really quick turnaround too.
Absolutely. And if you remember, I think it was just the week before that when he had problems with a drive shaft broke and came
Yep.
up to his
No,
floorboard. So
the
there was a steering box
steering
or something, I
box.
guess it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. But still, I mean, it was good to see him be able to turn his season around now. So
Absolutely. And then Kevin DeCamp, he was with us as well. Nice to see him back with us. Uh, I always like seeing Kevin. He's a good guy.
yeah, yep, he is.
Well, you got anything more on the sportsman? And
I don't. I'm not sure what happened to Tony Harris. Do you know what happened to him? I know he started up front. I know he finished in the back. And I had talked to him a little bit before the race, and he told me that they thought they finally had the gremlins all worked out of that car. And I know, the week before, or a couple weeks before, they were having problems where they kept dying on him, kept quitting on him, and they had a wiring issue. And they finally figured all that out, and he thought he was good to go. But I see he finished in the back, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him afterward to see exactly what the issue was. But
Well,
hopefully he gets his season turned around.
if it's any consolation, I think it says here that he's got the same amount of laps as Peoples and Guild.
Right?
So I don't know, maybe if he kind of got tangled up in that mess too.
Maybe he
I
did.
know that Glenn Trowbridge did as well, so that might have taken Tony Harris. That might have been what Tony Harris got caught up in.
Right? Maybe.
I could be wrong, I don't know, but just based on the laps and everything, that's
Mhm.
kind of my guess.
Right.
Well, I guess that's we can move on to the 600s unless you got anything else.
No, I think that's about it for me.
So the 600 cc's, this was a fun race. I really enjoy these things. I really do. I think they put on a good show. I know there wasn't a ton of them. I think they got 10. I talked to a few guys in the pits, and I think maybe the middle of the week's a tough day for them guys. Um,
Hmm.
but I really do enjoy them. I think they put on a great show.
They do, absolutely do. And these cars are chain driven. That's the funny part about it. They're chain driven. You would think that on a dirt track that them chains wouldn't stay on, but they do. I mean, they put on a good show.
Right. So pretty much, uh, Kyle Percy, he was out front at the beginning, and then yeah, Jared Green was putting a lot of TJ Smith, excuse me, was putting pressure on him. They raced side by side for a little while. TJ Smith actually ended up getting by him. He led for a lap, and that opened the door when they were battling Jared Green, who picked up a sportsman win earlier this year. He was able to close that distance and then eventually get around both of them and lead the rest of the way. So Jared Green comes back, picks up another feature win, completely different class than he ran last time. Um, I asked him if it anything kind of translates, and he said, a little bit, but so
Right. He's a great kid too to talk to. He is.
he
He's a
he
lot
is.
of fun.
He is. So Jared Green picked up the win. TJ Smith finished in second. Justin Ledoux was third. Fourth was Tyler Talita, and Kyle Percy was fifth. One thing I did want to mention too, Aiden Miller, that 53 junior last year, he drove from 14th to pick up the win. And this year he made it up to third, and then something on the chain broke, and then
Mhm.
he just went back in a hurry. So I saw that that's what happened to him. Because he was
Right,
he was
right.
moving up there, and I thought he was gonna go. I thought he was gonna get it done again, but he
You're right.
just came up short. Um, but so that's that was the night. I think I've hit everything. Is there something I missed or
I don't think so. I think no, I think we were setting pretty good.
okay?
Like I said, I think we were out of there before 10 o'clock, I believe, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, it might have been more like 10:30.
was it? Yeah. It's
Yeah,
still pretty decent for a weeknight.
yeah, and I think the well, and we had a red flag, Tim Guild, he went over and
Yep.
that kind of, that's when something like that happens, you gotta check out the driver, make sure everything's okay, get everything back the right way, and
Hmm.
so that
Yep.
that
No, for
that
sure.
takes a little bit of time and I think, time wise we did pretty good. Most of the classes did pretty good. The modifieds had a little bit of a tough time getting going. And then it seemed like after a little while everybody kind of settled down and settled in and then we were able to really knock off some green flag laps.
Right, right. And I did want to say that I did going through the grandstands or out back during the races. I ran into Kyle Leach out there, so I got a chance to talk
Yep.
to him for a minute, and he's feeling a lot better now than he did on Saturday night. He got a concussion and, of course, hurt his back a little bit, was sore, but he said he's feeling a lot better now, and hopefully they're going to get the car back together and come back. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you talk to him about the car?
I didn't a whole lot. No, not really. I didn't.
So I'll share some information. Now I don't know I don't know how I this is just what I heard. Um I think it was Sunday morning. Kyle texted me and he said, or it might have been Monday. Either way, just got to the car. It's junk. I don't know. Might be done for the year. We'll see what happens. Well, then I said, well, that sucks, man. I'm sorry, that sucks. Well, then a little while later, he goes, well, Tim Gill looked at it and he thinks it could be saved, so I don't know. I said, well, all right. And I said, well, you know what? I hope you get it back together. I hope you can have fun again because,
right?
that's what these guys do it
No,
for is for fun. And when something like that happens to a low budget team, that sucks. So
it is. But you know what? We really you got to be thankful that he's walking around and he's talking today
absolutely.
because let me tell you a little something about that hit that he took. So he ended up with orange paint on his helmet. That was from a race car that came through his window. Okay, so that's pretty astonishing that you can take a hit like that you end up with orange paint on. Now, again, with that being said, he has a full containment seat, and I don't know that it broke the seat or just bent it, but the containment that comes around the side of his head actually had quite a bit of damage to it and had
Mhm.
orange paint on that too. So that just goes to show that the kind of hit that he took. And, thank goodness for the safety equipment that these cars have in them nowadays, and how they're built and all that. Boy, it could have been a lot worse than what it was. And we're
Yeah,
thankful that Kyle is, he's doing better today and he's walking around and he's feeling better. So, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the important thing, I know there was big money on the line, but I at the end of the day, they're all gonna end up losing money anyway, and it's supposed to be fun, you know.
Yep.
But
No, for sure.
so yeah, that was the honoring Alice night, Billy Van Pelt Legends night. That was brought to you by BH Log Hauling White's Repair. If anybody knows Tom White and he's got a logo, he could give it to me. I have no idea where to find a logo for him. Um, I've tried. I've looked everywhere. I've scoured the depths of the internet looking for a logo for Tom White. So if he watches this and he says, "Well, how come my logo's not behind him like every other track sponsor is?" That's why. I just could not find it. I don't know how to really reach the guy, and that's how it goes. So if he's mad, I apologize. It's not intentional. I just couldn't find it.
You're right. Yeah.
Um so we can just look ahead in a couple of days here this weekend. I don't want to go too deep into this, the kind of just a quick
Yep.
recap of the night. Just this
Right.
weekend, the modifieds are off. So don't bring your modified. We'll take your money if you want to pay to go into the pits, but you might as well not even bring the modified because it'll be in the trailer. CRSA sprint cars, that's the 305 sprint cars, they'll be back. They put on a great show. My good friend Marty Sakala, he'll be in the booth with us, and he does a great job with them. Does some stuff for Rush too. He does just a great job. He's actually
Yep.
does the announcing for a gig. He does the baseball games and stuff for Brockport. So
All right. That's pretty cool.
yeah, he does a great job.
He
And so
does.
so you know what? Check out some of his stuff too because um he puts up a lot of stuff. He does cameras. So he'll record himself on a camera in front of him. And if you're a young person getting it, just trying, you want to get started into this, go listen to him because he does a great job. And that's I do it myself. So that's a good way to kind of learn some things from somebody that's been doing it longer. And it's a cool idea. So they'll be there with the CRSAs and a good tune up for September. Um,
Oh man, I got to tell you, Joe, I'm so excited about this September 2 day show. And again, I'm good friends with Mike Emoff, and I've been on the phone with Mike this week, and we're going to start doing some pre-registration for the sprint cars coming up, just so we can get kind of a head count about who's coming in and what to expect. And I tell you, I just keep hearing it over and over. We're talking 50 plus cars for this show. I mean, we're talking a B main. When was the last time you went to a race around here and seen a B main or even a C main? But yeah, these guys are stacking up, and I'm telling you, I think you're going to see some here this weekend. They're going to come and do a little test and tune to get ready for that big race. So it should be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great show. Those 305s are a lot of fun to watch. They're almost they're almost the perfect race car for Woodhall.
Yeah, they actually are. I mean, when the 360s come into town, when the ESS comes, they're fast. But these things are. Last time they were here, I think they were 3/10 of a second slower than ESS, which I'm pretty sure there's nobody in the stands that can tell that difference in speed. So I mean, it's minute, so
Yeah, I
it'll
sure
be
can.
great.
I
It'll
sure
be a
can.
great show.
Absolutely. That is sponsored by Cole Truck and Gravel, and that's Niska night as well. Um, according to what I got, but I don't think that's right. I think what I
Um,
got's wrong. If you give me about 30 seconds, I can find it. Nope, just Cole Trucking and Gravel. Niska was earlier in the year.
right.
But then
Yep.
on August 16th, so that's August 9th, August 16th, um, on the schedule it says the Vintage Stock Car Club. That is not true. The Vintage Stock Car Club is not on that night. But the IMCAs will be back. No Warriors, no Quad Cs. So the four cylinders have the night off, and that's sponsored by Bradley Supply. And then the backpack giveaway on August 23rd. Joe and Gene Wilcox will be doing a great job with that. That's going to be sponsored by Country Crossroads and Johnny and June Salon. So I would have to imagine with Johnny and June Salon on the docket, if you're an Austin Allen fan, I would circle that weekend.
No
Just,
doubt.
just my hunch. I don't know. I can't imagine he'd miss that race, but
I'm pretty sure when Mom's sponsoring the race that her boy better be there, or it could be really bad at the Thanksgiving dinner table. So,
yeah, that's right. So
and
that
and
takes
and I don't know if you've seen Austin lately, but I don't think he's missed many Thanksgiving dinners. So I'm just saying, if you're listening, Austin, I know you'll probably call me here in a minute, but
That's all right. I don't think Austin will mind it. He's one of them.
no,
He's one of them guys that'll play around with you. He likes to have fun, and
that's right.
he'll give it
I,
right
I
back
have,
to you. So
that's right. I got to get a shot in when I can because if not, he'll be ahead of me, and I don't want that. So,
that's right. And then we will be wrapping up the month of August with the vintage cars. They'll be back on August 30th. Also, $500 to win for the Dave Klein Memorial Dash for Cash. That's going to be a 10 lap dash for the four cylinders in memory of Dave Klein. That is, I don't know. That could be a big deal. That's a
it
10
it
laps,
is
500. I don't exactly know exactly what we're going to do. I can't imagine we're going to run 20 of them in the dash, but I guess you never
right.
know.
So yeah, we've been kind of been talking about this a little bit the last couple of weeks. The interest that's been shown so far. I mean, we've had a lot of four cylinders have been calling, asking rules questions from out of town. It looks like this guy was well known, and it looks like that there's a lot of them going to come. So we might have to revamp this whole deal a little bit. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do with it yet, but stay tuned. I'm sure you're going to hear some details coming out soon on it. So,
Well, what I told Wesley is, take top three from heats or something. Take top two,
right,
however many heats you got. Just take the top from them, and you got to race your way in.
right, yep,
That's the way it goes.
right.
Um, well, yeah. So that takes you to the end of August. I think I'm about ready to get us out of here, Terry. Um, unless you got something else, I'll let you go. My hope was to make it a little bit shorter of a episode this tonight, just because it's a recap. We don't need to go
Right,
into points. We did that before. We'll be doing that in like 3 days, so no
right.
need to
Yeah,
do any of that
absolutely.
stuff.
That's right. Absolutely.
So you got anything else for me? Are you ready to hop on off of
No,
here?
I don't. I think we about covered everything that we could possibly cover, and let's move on to Saturday night.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. I do want to remind everybody to like and subscribe on the pod or on yeah on the YouTube page and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you know what? I'm going to give them a shout out here. I'm going to shout out D&L Disposal. They're the premier residential waste management company in the Woodhull area. They sponsor the driver interview parts of this thing, and I had to pull an audible here because I completely forgot about the Wednesday night show. So I thank them for working with me here this week, but I'll give them a shout out on the race recap because this should have been their show, and I messed it up. So I appreciate them for showing a little bit of leniency, I guess I'll say.
There you go.
All right, Terry. Well, hey, probably until Monday night. You have a good night.
Absolutely. You do the same. We'll see you soon.
You got it.